Oh, you didn't know? The Road Dogg, along with the Casio Kid, Conrad Thompson's bestie, did an impromptu YouTube exclusive drop for the Oh, You Didn't Know podcast. And this one was a bit of a banger, a bit newsworthy here as Road Dogg opened up about all the shit that he was talking about CM Punk when he was in AEW and all of that bad drama, that bad energy that Road Dogg put out into the world. What happened when now that CM Punk is in the WWE, Road Dogg inevitably came face to face with the Punker Man himself in catering, of course, while they're getting their sandwiches. Check out this clip.
Dog, if anybody is a listener of this show, they know you have spoke your mind about many people, including one CM Punk. You have now run into the one and only Mr. CM Punk backstage. Is that correct statement?
That is a safe assumption. So I won't go into the details, but I will tell you that he and I, the first time I saw him and he was sitting at a catering table and he and I met eyes and he stood up and we shook hands and we kind of didn't say anything for a minute. And then he literally, and I feel safe sharing this because I shared it with him face to face the following day, how impactful it was. He literally like shrugged his shoulders and went like, "Oh, come on," and pulled me in and hugged me. And I'll tell you the truth, it made me feel immediately like an a-hole, like I'm a piece of crap. It humbled me in myself, if that makes sense. I don't know how else you could humble yourself, but it humbled me in a way where I thought I have talked negatively about you and I've thought negatively about you, and then you embrace me and wow. You know what I mean? And look, it may not mean anything to anybody else. It may not mean a thing to you or to Dom or to anybody listening. But to me, it meant a lot. And truth be told, I almost started crying because it was a bit of an eye opener about it. I'll tell you this, it immediately made me feel like no matter what the other person has done, no matter what other people have said or done, or you thought they did, or I thought they did, or whatever, to have that in my head and heart is only hurting me. You know what I mean? It ain't bothering him none. It ain't bothering you any. It's only in my head and heart, and that's negativity. And it all drained out of me when he like shrugged like, "Oh, come on." And it harkens me back to brothers don't shake hands, brothers got a hug. and he pulled me in and we hugged, dude. And it I don't know, man. It made me feel good for him to do that. By the way, it made me feel really good, but it made me immediately feel like ashamed of my behavior.
I could be that guy that points out the hypocrisy of guys like the Road Dogg and even Booker T as well, to a lesser extent. All the trash that they talked about CM Punk when CM Punk was not in the WWE. Now all of a sudden that they have to look at Punk every day, when Punk's in the locker room, walking by them, suddenly they ain't got shit to say. Now, I could point that out, and I could take that low road, but I'm going to take the high road here, and I'm going to actually give the Road Dogg some props. Because I do believe in granting grace to people and allowing people to change their opinions, especially if it's for the better. And for Road Dogg to not just have this experience in his life, but to come out and openly, be humble about it on his podcast to the world, to bare his soul, if you will. I'm going to actually give him a high five for this one. It's not an easy thing to do. You know, it was something I criticized Road Dogg about on this show about CM Punk. I said, look, for such a self-proclaimed godly man, a self-proclaimed man of God, he's all religious and stuff like that, supposedly changed. He carries a lot of hate and negativity in his heart, and he takes shots at people and has a good hearty laugh at people's expenses all the time. And to me, that doesn't speak to being a man of God. That speaks to being a childish bully in a lot of ways, you know, just a douchebag. And he was being just that when talking about CM Punk, having a good laugh at Punk's expense about everything. You know, Punk's whole run in AEW, there were shots taken by the Road Dogg. Negative shots. And now that CM Punk is in WWE and CM Punk was the bigger man to stand up and open up to give Road Dogg a hug, and it humbled the Road Dogg. He's like, wow, I'm a piece of shit. I had said all this trash, carried all this negativity, and here's this man that I carry all this negativity and this hatred and this bad energy for, and have said all this nasty stuff about, and he's sitting here willing to embrace me and sweep it all under the rug. Man, what a douchebag I am. And I hope he learns from that, and I hope he changes for the better as a person. People can change, but they have to be open to. They have to want to. I don't believe that people are the same forever, but I do believe that they have to work at it. You know, that kind of negativity can almost work like a disease. He has to consciously make the effort every day to consciously not speak that sort of shit into existence. He doesn't need to take those tones on his podcast. Now look, it's a podcast and it's a show and it's good for ratings and it's fun to do, right? It's fun to take your little shots at people on your podcast. I just did it with the Road Dogg. But at the same time, if a guy like Road Dogg can finally, at fucking pushing 60 now, can finally come to terms with the fact that he doesn't need to be an asshole and doesn't need to live in this negative world all the time where he's talking mad shit about everybody constantly, better for him, better on him, and, you know, he can kind of lift that weight off his shoulders and he can sleep better at night. I don't know why he carries that around with him. I think it's an ego thing. I think it's definitely like, you know, like a protection mechanism of sorts, a defense mechanism, to kind of hide his insecurities by putting down others. I think that's where it comes from, because I do think Road Dogg is a good guy. You know, I do think he's got a good heart overall, but I think he's got that grizzled, crusty outer core that, man, it's time to just let that shit go at this point, especially how late he is in his age, you know, in the game, retired. Has nothing to gain from trying to put other people down in the business or be the hard ass or the funny guy or the tough guy or the cool guy anymore. He's the Road Dogg. He's a retired ass wrestler sitting in the back, all fat and gray haired and stuff. Like, he's not in the business anymore. He doesn't need to be cooler or get one over on CM Punk, bro, for the internet fucking fan base. Doesn't need to happen anymore. Just chill out and be cool. And I'm glad that he came to that realization. I'm glad that he was humbled, because this was something I noticed about Road Dogg, and I flat out pointed out on this show the hypocrisy of Road Dogg calling himself a religious man but being negative about all these different people. So hopefully that changes going forward, and hopefully, you know, Road Dogg can be a little bit more listenable, because I don't listen to his show very often because it's kind of unbearable. He's a fairly annoying guy. He talks a lot and he's kind of negative and just kind of like, you know, he likes to bust everybody's balls and just, you know, it's not my jam. A little bit of it's funny, but it has its point where it gets to be too much. But just like this here clip has gotten to the point where it's too much, I'm going to wrap it up there. But I do want to know, what are your thoughts? Did you watch the whole segment, the bonus episode that Road Dogg put out? What did you think of it? If you haven't, I did link it in the description below, as always. And that's all I got for you. Peace, love, and pizza. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.